3 RC, and we're back. We have the brand new FMS 64mm F-16. I couldn't be more excited. I was literally sitting watching out the window for the UPS guy all day today. Did you know they actually have a thing where you can GPS track the truck and see what street it is on? It's not weird, okay? It's not like I was doing that. It's not like I was watching the UPS guy's every move until he showed up at my house, because that'd be weird, right? This is so exciting. I absolutely love jets. This is my third FMS plane, and this is a brand new one. So let's dive into it. Today we have the gray one, all right? There's the Thunderbird variant and the gray variant. We got the gray, and I'm excited to do it. I do have another F-16. That one's Arctic Camo. That's a 70mm, and I have been loving 64mm. It's even officially licensed by Lockheed Martin. As always, if you're interested in this jet at all and you haven't picked it up yet, use the link down below. It's an affiliate link, get a little bit of a kickback so I can keep making content and videos like this. Use code MACH3RC so you can get 10% off of it too. All right, let's dive in. Right away, we're met with a huge sheet of decals. We'll get to that later. Right now, we have some ASMR unboxing stuff going on. Just kidding, not one of those channels. So we're introduced with the wing right away. And one thing I want to say is all my FMS planes have came beautifully wrapped. I've never had any issues with damage or anything in transit. Ooh, a nice drop tank there. Get the old fuse out and set that to the side. And oh, some missiles are coming out already. Excited to have those, my first plane with ordnances. The landing gear surprisingly looked really beefy, especially for a 64mm. Look at this front strut. Hell yeah. As we keep unboxing, it just felt like we kept pulling out ordnances, like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Like missile, missile, missile. They just kept coming. Then to see we actually have a rudder is nice. On my other 64mm, no rudders. Here we have the rear horizontal stabilizers. They are not full stabs, but that's all right. Should still do the trick. We have the ventral fins. Once you're done doing magic, we're gonna get to step one, which is popping this tube through the fuselage. And then I ran into my first, not issue, but weird quirk. All right, so we got two wires coming out where our wing connects. And we have two wires on our wing. These ones are labeled lights, and then the other one's not labeled, but you can figure it out. So I didn't know which one was supposed to plug into which, so I just freeballed it, and we plugged the top one into the wing, the bottom one into the LED light, and in the end, it ended up working out. Okay, so I picked up this tool, and this has been a lifesaver. If you guys are interested in this, it's a little magnetic. It has a bunch of different heads and options. So you got your hex heads and then also a Phillips, and it's always for RC sizes. This plus the stand has been a lifesaver, so if you're interested in it, check out in the description below. Back to the task at hand, we have a couple screws we got to put in, 2 on each side to be specific. Next up, we have a little bit of glue we need to do. So if you want to check out which glue I use, it's right here. It's foam tack. I got it on Amazon. It's nothing crazy, but it's worked really well for me, and it's what I had on hand. So for our horizontal stabilizers in the rear, we're going to put a little bit of glue on, then you pop this over, and then with this foam tack, you pull it back up and you want to make it stringy. So you'll see me do that here. Get her a little stringy and then push down firmly, and we'll hold it for a little bit. Tucking in the wires was a little bit interesting too. It's not the best spot for them, so I just kind of jammed it in there with the wire. That's where it was before I started messing with it. It'll stay. And then we're going to glue up the other side. It is a little stringy, so you're going to get strings of glue everywhere, but it was easy enough to install. And once I let this dry for a day, they felt super solid. Flipping this puppy over, we're going to get to the rudder, which is our last piece that we need to glue. I was a little shocked that we're just gluing the whole vertical stabilizer in. I would have liked to see a couple screws to hold this in, but we're going to glue it because that's what it says to do. So connect this. This is going to have 2 wires as well, one for the rudder and one for the lights. Now be careful. I wanted to shove this wire down the hole, which I did here, but I later found out that leads right to the EDF, and I was almost chopping up my wires because I pushed it down too far. So do not push that rear wire through that hole. Keep it, there's some tape up there, tape it up there and make sure it's out of the way so the wires don't get pinched, but do not push it down that hole. Otherwise the wires will be touching your EDF, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. But overall, the fitment is nice, and it felt like it went right in there and is solid after drying. Now for this beefy front landing gear, it was kind of tough to film, but easy to install. Make sure that screw is backed out that you see on the front strut there, so that way that pull on the bottom goes all the way into the front strut, and then once you slide it down, you just tighten it up, and it sits in there nice and firm. I'm still so stoked it came with this shock-absorbing strut. Next up is the rear. Woo! All right, now this doesn't have shock absorbing struts, but it's easy enough to install, and I like it too because if it needs to be replaced, it would be super easy to replace. We're gonna use 3 screws here, 1 in the front and then 2 in the back, and then along with the back comes a little plate that we're gonna put in, which you'll see me install shortly here. Make sure you get it the right way. That was the wrong way, so we'll flip it around. There we go. It sits in there. You'll be able to tell when you're putting it on. And then there's just 2 screws that go in the back of that. And again, fitment was really good. As I was putting this together, I'm just so impressed with all the details on this plane. Normally the 64 millimeters I feel just don't get the same amount of love that the bigger ones do. But let's get to install my favorite part, the nose cone. Now this one isn't magnetic, it just clips in. I also have it on my integral and it works great. The ventral fins couldn't be easier to put in. They go in just like the ordnance do. You put the things in the little slots and push them back. Be careful, it is foam. I had to restrict myself from pushing too hard because I didn't want to leave fingerprint indents, but they go in nice and easy. Now's the fun part, the missiles, baby. This one came with so many. It completely transforms the look, and I've never had a plane with missiles, so I'm really excited to see how it flies with and without them and the difference it makes, but it looks crazy. Opening up the canopy, it has this buckle design latch, which is really nice. You don't want that flying off during flight, and it definitely won't with that, and it blends right in. I was so excited about these lights. Guys, the video doesn't do it justice. The lights look phenomenal in person. They are super bright and they're all over the plane, which is gonna help with orientation.
Beautiful. These lights are so sick. We're assembled. It's together. It went together absolutely beautifully. Now it's just decals, and I was thinking, maybe I won't do decals. But man, they don't skimp on the decals, and there's such cool options. Then I seen the South Dakota. My name's Dakota. I have to. I feel like I'm legally obligated. We're gonna toss those on. What I didn't realize was these were water slide decals, and I've never used water slide decals. So before I marred it up too bad trying to pick it off with my knife like an idiot, I used Google Translate on the Chinese that was down here, and it said water slide decal. Now I know what that is, so we're gonna cut these out and try putting on water slide decals for the first time.
All right, if you want to learn how to put on some water slide decals, stick around. Otherwise, you can skip to the end and see the results. But first thing we're going to do is cut all of these out individually. You're going to want to use an X-Acto knife. I guess you could use a scissors too, but an X-Acto knife worked really well. Then you're going to take some lukewarm water, set the decals in there. They started folding up, so try to get them straight if you can. Let them sit in there for a few seconds and wet down where you're going to put the decal. I didn't show it on camera, but I put water all over here, and then it's just going to slide up. This was a little tricky, but when you have that water, you're able to kind of move the decal around. As you can see here, if it starts drying up though, it does start getting a little sticky on there. So keep it wet, and then when you get it in the spot you want, use like a microfiber to kind of absorb the rest of the water so it doesn't keep moving. And then I took my X-Acto knife and I just made a small incision right here so that way the rudder doesn't get caught up on the decal at all. And then I tried to fold it in the best I could. For my first time doing it, it looked good. I forgot to record putting the wolf on, which I was pissed about. And then I also forgot to record putting that decal on. By here, I was so focused that I kept forgetting to hit record, but we got this one. Now, this one was a little tricky coming off the paper, and it slid around and stuck to my finger. But yeah, the biggest thing is just get it where you want it and smush it out. Now this side was way harder because it has the servo. So this got real tricky, and I ended up tearing this sticker a couple times, but I was able to shift it around, move it, and it's hard to see where it was torn, but it was more of a pain, especially with that arm there and the servo there.
What you want, don't ever call me a side. You know what I want, girl, I'm trying to make you mine. Hey, yo, excuse me, please don't confuse me. Liquid in my cup, I keep it juicy. I used to be like that way back then. I was way back then.
Bogies appear to be coming, digging to the right now, heading north.
guys enjoyed this unboxing, like, comment, and subscribe. Again, if you want to check this jet out, links down below. Mach 3 RC gets you 10% off. So make sure to utilize that. Appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for the maiden.